we're going to go ahead and.
Well, I was going to tell you, this is I was in the television business for about 10 years, and we call this a segue. It's almost show you what a professional does in a segue.
I see. Okay,
I talked about that old Baylor Stadium, and joining us right now is a guy who was at both of those ball games. He didn't play in the first one, but he was there, and he coached in the second one. And I know Jeff Traylor well, and of the almost 200 wins he had, he can barely tell you much of anything about those, but he can recite in excruciating detail every play of the 4 losses he had in like 15 years.
And that's sick.
And, he admits it's sick.
It's a sick thing.
And he joins us now, and Jeff, we're really, really grateful that you came up to talk to us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. In 1981, I was in the stands as a junior high kid, literally crying. And then in 2007, I was on the sidelines, and I was literally crying again, so it was about the same.
Well, we mentioned that, sometimes when Celina gets into that real tight formation with all the backs grouped up and then does a little quick fakes and everything, that's got to give you kind of nightmares every time you see that, doesn't it?
Nobody ran that stuff as good as Liberty Hill did. They were incredible at it, and Coach Vance whipped my tail that day. So, yeah, I remember it well.
Well, Jeff, you've been away from the Buckeyes 2 seasons now, and, I know you haven't been able to attend all their games or, even watch or listen to all their games, but obviously, your youngest son played last year, finished the senior year on the team, and went, 14-1 and lost to the Celina Bobcats in the semifinals, and then this year, they're here in the 4th round, and, most of the coaches that were there while you were there that you hired or the coaches still on staff, all these kids, you've coached every one of these kids that are still out on the field and everything. What's it been like for you these last 2 years to, be a little separated from the program at Gilmer and to keep up with what they're doing, and how's it made you feel?
Obviously, it makes me feel very proud. I mean, last year, went to leave Jake behind, and, I got to watch all those games. I made it to 7. Coach Strong flew me into 7 of those games, and I got to watch the other 8 on Huddle. Coach York had me hooked up where I could still watch those games, so I got to see all 15 of them last year. And the ones this year that I've been able to watch on Huddle, not as many, but I've tried to watch, a lot of these kids I've had forever, Colin Lane, Poppy and Red, just a little Marcus, a lot of those guys, Kelton, a lot of those guys were on my state championship team 3 years ago. So very proud, and it brings back a lot of memories, to be honest, just watching Celina and Gilmer. I remember in 2003, the first time we played them, we beat them, and we had a lot more talent than they did with Manuel. And obviously it was Poppy's brother, Derek, the quarterback of that team. But I remember the game was over. I remember telling our staff that we just had more talent. That team played a lot harder than we did, and we made it our mission from then on. We were going to play like Celina, but we were going to have East Texas speed, and that's kind of what we've done. We have East Texas talent, and we play as hard as Celina does now.
You kind of studied Celina, is my understanding. I go way back. You kind of studied, they've kind of brought the spread around, and you kind of modeled a little bit of what you do after them. Isn't that correct?
Well, it wasn't so much their offenses as much as their culture. What you guys love to talk about are plays, and y'all love to talk about, all that kind of stuff, and that stuff matters. But what you'll learn about the great programs, it's a culture. It's a culture of excellence. It's a culture of accountability. It's a culture of just this time of year when it's cold and rainy. A lot of guys are ready to go to the gym right now, and the championship programs, the Celinas of the world, the Gilmers of the world, this is where their kids really get excited, and that's what I learned from Celina more than anything. What GA and Butch and Bill and them have done down there through the years is really phenomenal. I bought GA's book the other day. When you don't have a job, you got a lot of time on your hands. I bought his book the other day, and I read it in 9 hours straight, and it was nothing about the history of Celina. It's a great read, and you learn a lot about the culture of Celina, and we've tried to create that in Gilmer in those last 17 years.
Well, there's no question that is definitely the case. Gilmer's statistics under you and, of course, Matt now continuing the tradition, and you guys did that a lot together. You look at the statistics that you guys were able to put up over the years, won more football games than any team in our division since the year 2000. I mean, when did you ever think you'd hear that? We travel around the country, and people talk about Texas football, and when you talk about Texas football, you talk about East Texas, and when you talk about East Texas, you talk about a few teams, being Carthage of the world, the Glade Waters. In the old days, it was the Dangerfields, and now the the team is talked about all over the nation, even in some cases, is Gilmer, and that's got to give you kind of a sense of pride to know that you had a major hand in bringing that culture to our community, especially since you're a hometowner and it's your community.
Well, we've talked about it many times, and it's just, there's just so much more to it than just me. I was allowed to bring some of the best assistants in the state, and as it's seen, and I'm really glad. People ask me all the time, "Are you disappointed that they can win without you?" And I'm like, "Well, heck no! It's the greatest compliment I could ever have for this thing to keep rolling on without me, because that's what we've always preached here. It's a program. It's bigger than one person. It's undefinable. You cannot define what makes all this. It's too big." And I'm extremely proud of how all the assistants have stepped up. The young kids have kept rolling, and they're going to keep playing football in Gilmer, Texas, long after Jeff Traylor and Matt Turner are gone. And I want, and Matt would want as well, this program to keep rolling for years and years and years after us on the foundation, the principles that we've installed, because those foundation principles we put in, they've proven the test of time. Biblically, it's just what it is, and that's why it should last forever.
Jeff, is it hard for you to, you come to these games, of course you've been watching, last year you watched Jake, and so you get to sit there as a parent, but as a coach, and as you know everything going on the sidelines. You got to be sitting there in your mind, and I know you never say it, but you're sitting there play calling, this is what I would do in this situation, this is what I would do, and that may or may not happen. Is it hard do you find yourself antsy sitting there, or are you able to relax and actually watch this game?
When I was younger, I was more antsy. As I've gotten older, I really realized that play calling is highly overrated. There's an art to it, don't get me wrong, but the fundamentals of our offense are going to be here forever. We're going to run the same screens, the same quick plays, the same down the field, the same run, same fly sweep, same trick plays. Those things have been in forever. That's not what's going to win the game. What's going to win the game is, love for fellow man, believing in each other, being tougher than your opponent, being more physical, being tougher, making the plays when it matters. You can call, I'm telling you, I've called a bunch of bad plays before, and my kids believe, and my assistants believe so much in the play, they made the play work. And that's what separates the championship teams from the ones that don't win it. Everybody in the teams that don't win it, they're worried about the coach, the call he makes, and why he did this and why he did that. We don't think like that on those sidelines. All we think about is whatever play was called, we're going to go execute the play, come hell or high water, and that's why the Buckeyes win so much.
Well, Jeff, when you made that tough decision almost 2 years ago, to leave the team that you had built into a state power and take a job that, as you said, you can only dream about as a Texas, kid and a high school, coach, get a chance to coach at the University of Texas. You said that, then you knew that it was a volatile job as an assistant in the college level, even as a head coach in the college level, and you knew what you were getting into. And as Jeff pointed out, you're a Gilmer graduate, and the things that you've done at Gilmer for the program and for the community has endeared you to a lot of people there. And there's a lot of people that have followed you in your run at the University of Texas and want to know what's going on with you now and how you're doing, and if you know where you're going to coach next year. And of course, there's there's a lot of people out there that are rooting for you and just want to know what your situation is right now.
Well, people have been more than wonderful, and I've had a ton of people reach out, and I appreciate all those people. I'm fine. Bum Phillips said it best. There's two kinds of coaches, them that's been fired and them that's going to be. And now I'm in that category with those guys. So I understand it. Coach Herman has to do what's best for the University of Texas and Coach Herman. When I came to Gilmer in 2000, I wanted to bring in my guys from Jacksonville, and we brought in most of our staff from Jacksonville. So I understand it. There's absolutely nothing personal there. I wish him nothing but the best. And something's going to end up good for me. I love kids, and I love coaching ball. That's never changed, and I just want to be around kids, and I want to coach ball, and it'll all work out. I believe what I believe. Jeremiah 29:11's been good to me for a long time, and I'm going to keep clinging to that, and I'll be fine, but thanks for asking.
Coach, we appreciate you being here, Jeff. Our friendship goes way, way, way back, and we appreciate you letting us be a part of this program when you were here, and tradition continues, and we just can't thank you enough for what you've done for the program. And we hate to say goodbye, but it is time.
You're invited to stay if you want to get some color commentary.
We'd love to. In fact, stay as long as you want. Here's the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, over to the left side, and they get a little bit of a return.
You're not restricted right now by NCAA rules, I understand, right? You can say what you want to about these players. So.
I'm good now. That was pooch kick at 3. I used to get on to me all the time when I pooch kicked. Y'all don't get on it anymore.
Oh, did you?
I see how it is. I heard about you guys.
Did you listen to the broadcast?
I heard about you guys.
They told me you never listened to the broadcast.
I heard it. My mama tells me everything.
We should have known that.
Yeah, we should never trust a mother. We ought to know that. So we want to thank our good friend Jeff Traylor for coming in and spending a little time with us. We wish you all the best, Jeff. And whatever school ends up getting Jeff Traylor is going to get gold mine. So we look forward to great things for him and his family in the future. All right, here we go. Salina lines up for their first possession of the second half.